Hi, I'm Edwin Harvey. I grew up in Upper Essex Street, 85 Upper Essex Street. I went to Upper Park Street School as a junior, as a little one, and then from there we went to Wellington Road School, which is just the top of the hill here, at the back of the florrie. The only thing with the Wellington Road School, we didn't have anywhere to play football except on a roof, and that's where we used to play our football, on the roof. If we had a football match against Dingle Vale, we used to have to go to Jericho Lane or play at the back of Dingle Vale School, and that was part of me growing up. And of an evening, of a daytime, we used to come down to the florrie and have our meal, and there'd be big long wooden tables laid out, and the ladies would get you in a queue and they'd ask you what you wanted to eat. You get your food. Once everything was done, you went back to school, and then in the evening the florrie was open, so you came back down to the florrie, and we played table tennis and billiards. There was the boxing club here. Everything was a little coffee bar for you. And of a Saturday evening, they used to have bands, groups coming on, Cherry and the Bassmakers, of course, and people like that. The only ones that didn't come on was the Beatles, because they were always down in the cabin sort of thing, and going from here to Germany and that sort of thing. But otherwise, that was part of my growing up, and it's nice to know that the florrie is still thriving after it nearly closed down many years ago. I mean, we had nothing in them days. We used to go from school, from Wellington Road School, we go to the baths in Stebble Street, and we'd go swimming in the baths. And then as we were going back to school, we would go through the wash house, and there was always ladies there, and they'd make you toast, and it was great to get around the toast and walk from there back up to school eating your toast, and the teacher wouldn't say nothing to you, he'd let you carry on, and that was another thing. But sometimes to get into the baths with a group of lads, one of us used to go in the front of the Stebble Street and pay X amount of money, and then he'd come around the bath and he'd open the side door, because at the back of Upper Essex Street there's a big door there where we used to get in, sort of thing, But that was part of growing up, I think, because we didn't have computers, we didn't have mobile phones like the children have got today, sort of thing,
My name's Tommy Caveney, and I lived in Garswood Street. I bought a house in Badminton Street, and I've lived there ever since. I'm now 54 years of age. Early 87 we left school, and we come to florrie at the time. We're doing YTSs, the youth training scheme that Thatcher had set up. And I remember, I come here to do a put down for paint and decorating was the course. It was a 2-year course with the promise of a job, the promise of a job at the end of it, which is what, she sold the dream to everyone. So I done my first year here, 87, started getting stuck in, and I enjoyed it as well. Like, it was upstairs in the main hall. They splintered each area off into, like, woodwork would be in one corner, metalwork would be in the other, painting and decorating. You'd have the bricklayers building things with, like, no lime in the cement so they could knock the wall back down. And the girls were all downstairs doing what these had to do where the gymnasium is downstairs. And I always remember when I first started in the florrie, you got your first wage, obviously. You'd never worked straight from school. And then out west at the top of Welly Road, they used to walk us up, and each class would go single file, very disciplined. Each class would go single file, and they told us how to set a bank account up, and they told us how to get your national insurance card and things like that, which you never knew nothing about leaving school. And walk up disciplined in single lines, and then you'd all wait outside in your class to go in, open a bank account, and then every other Friday we'd do the same. We'd go up and we'd throw our wages, filling a checkbook in and all that. I've still got bits and bobs of it in there. I've still got my checkbook from when I was my first ever bank account. So the discipline of that, then we'd walk back down and we'd have something to all eat together in the canteen, like, you know, and then back upstairs to do your YTS. But I remember going into the second year, and your second year was more important really because you got put out on placement, so they were looking for jobs. So the lads who started the year before us, you were finding out that they got good jobs through the florrie. You know, some of them were working for Tyson's, the bricklayers, or some would be going down to the wood yard, you know, like. And so then you were thinking, oh, we're getting a job here, you're hitting 18, starting to get to 18, and I remember there was rumours that you know, the florrie might be closing, and you know, no, it'll never close, not the florrie, you know what I mean, never shut down. I remember we started going out on placement. I got put on Smithdown Road, funny enough, Barrington Road off Smithdown by the Asda. And I was painting and decorating there, doing a bit of plastering and loving it. I got a call back to Florrie once. Everyone come in on a Friday. Florrie's going to have to close, you know what I mean? We haven't got the funding to do the YTS anymore. It was just like more or less, they put us on, they said they had further education for us, like a community industry. Saying, no, the Florrie can't be closing, no way. And sadly, like, the florrie closed. He put us on a community industry, which was just another bit of a wet fish, really, by Thatcher. It was just another name for the YTS scheme. And it just fizzled out. We never got the job we done. And then the florrie was left to rack and ruin. Florrie went down the pan and become derelict. And, you know what happened then? I think like 88, it got put up for sale. And it was like, you know, just from then on, it just went rack and ruin. The kids climbed in, messing about with it, you know, the famous story about the roof getting set on fire, and it was just like, wow, what's happened to the florrie, you know what I mean? The emotional attach we had to it. So I always remember, like, now looking back, we were the last like, year in here, after YTS, we never got to get a job through it because of what happened to the florrie.
Well, my name's Reg Howlands. I used to live in 46 Corn Street in Liverpool, 8. And I live up in Wilton now, but our memories of the florrie is brilliant because I went to Wellington Road School and used the Florence Institute for the dinner centre. About 6 or 7 out of our family all worked in the mill. My dad's 2 brothers worked in the mill, Charlie and Billy, and they had a son, Morris. So when my dad was there, there was 3 shifts. There was mornings, 6 till 2, 2 till 10. And nights, well, he had like about 6 or 7 men, well, one might be more. But nowadays, when they just closed the mill, there's only run by 2 people. Machinery, you know, computers. Say when they talk about the flour mill, when it went on fire in 1960, from the explosion, the new silo, they don't mess with the mission. Well, on the road from here, that opened the doors for the people to go in. Because we had to evacuate out of the house, we couldn't stay in the house with the fire, you know. We all got transferred in, and the chap named Mr. Flint, he was the vicar there. And he opened the door, and, you know, he made a cup of tea, and with that piece of paper, you know, the echo, there's a photo of us making tea, you know, giving it to the people, yeah.
And your dad was on nights that night?
My dad was on nights.
He was working nights
time,
in the mill that night. That's my granddad, but Reg's dad.
My name is Joe Corbett, and I used to live in the old Weller Streets area. I lived and worked there because I worked for the Weller Streets Housing Co-op. So I lived on Pecksniff Street, and that's where my first daughter was born. Fortunately, when we were rehoused by the co-op, 2.5 years later, that was just in time because our second daughter was then born about 3 weeks after that. So I lived and worked in the area for quite a number of years, basically until 1988. So Weller Street was important for the area in terms of regeneration, but it was also very important because it was such a unique idea and such a unique project, and it was, you know, that rare example of where you get a group of working class people who are actually empowered to make decisions about their own lives as a community, and they're given the money to be able to make that difference to the quality of their lives as a group. That doesn't happen very often. The system doesn't really offer people that sort of democratic space to develop and prosper. But Weller Streets was the first new build co-op in England, and it was followed by quite a number of others here in Liverpool, particularly in South Liverpool. over the next 10 years or so. And the evidence of that is still with us today, with all the new estates that were designed by the people who went and lived in them after they were built. So that was, Weller Street was very important, you know, personally, professionally and politically. It wasn't just about bricks and mortar, it was about the lifeblood of the area and the community, because people were faced with, before the co-op was formed, people were given one option, you know, take a hard to let, as the old Weller Street is knocked down, or take a chance with a council offer, which could be miles away. It could be in Speak, Halewood, Netherley, Netherton, anywhere, you know. So a community that had taken over 100 years to develop would have been dissolved, and all those family and kinship network patterns that take ages to evolve would have been destroyed. And you know, the people who lived there had seen that happen to members of their own families in the past, or relatives or friends who'd been arbitrarily rehoused by the council. You know, the council had good intentions, trying to offer people better housing, but because there was no local coordinated redevelopment strategy for providing new housing in the area, it was pot luck where you ended up. And that was one of the main driving forces behind the co-op being set up. Interestingly, when the co-op were looking for a site to develop, there were loads of sites around here in those days. There were bomb sites everywhere. I mean, if you got on the bus on Park Road and sat on the top deck, looking from your left-hand side to your right-hand side, it was like looking at a lunar landscape. There were just craters everywhere, literally. And they go around, they'd identify sites, they'd have the maps from the City Engineers Department, and they'd say, well, that's big enough for our estate, or that's good enough. Can we have this, can we have that? All the sites were owned by the council, and the response was, oh no, it's zoned for something else. None of it was zoned for rehousing. It was zoned for light industrial use, recreation and open spaces, tourism, retail, you know, no rehousing option built into the council's regeneration strategy, which was, you know, a glaring hole if you think about it.
My name's Tony Chin, born and bred in Dingle. From Admiral Street down to Huskisson Street into Mill Street. The last 45 years I've been in Mill Street. I've been in some kind of since the day I was born, being in a Chinese family. My dad was tiddlywinks, if you like. And, but I've always been interested in sport period, you know what I mean? I loved swimming. I remember when I left school, I went to school in Canning Street, St Saviour's. And when I left school, I went into the Navy. The outfit holds Blue Funnel Company on the Chinese side, Asian crews. Because the second generation, like half-caste Chinese boys like myself, our dads put us in. And when I was 15, 16, we were looking for sports, something to do. You know, I tried golf. I dug holes in Allerton. You know, didn't bother going back for my deposit, just left the clubs in the bag in the bushes. Got off home. Yeah, and then one of the lads was into football, and we played five-a-side either here or in the Rodney rooms. No Mail Street. Yeah. And there used to be a roller rink there, didn't there, you know what I mean? And then, but I do a little bit of martial arts, but then I watched a Japanese teacher called Kanazawa. Old, very, very inky black and white film, you know, and he was still going. So then I saw another guy, Noida, and I started training with a guy who was a black belt. This is early 1970s, something like that. And it was just something that I fell into. You find something you like, you're good at. You're good at taxi driving. If you're nothing else, you're good at taxi driving. If you're nothing else, you're good at tech. Well, I wasn't good at much, but I was good at that. You know what I mean? I ended up travelling all around the world and teaching in Sweden and Denmark with a guy called Steve Kettle. Steve, rest in peace, you know, he'd been to a tournament in Belgium and died on the train coming home. But a lot of friends I've lost since then. But I mean, we had classes and we trained, and I trained the triangle, and I trained Steve Kettle. I trained with. Then I went to train with a Japanese teacher called Kato in Cheshire. I trained with there, but I always trained with the Noida and Sensei Kanazawa. And then I joined an organisation called the SKI, Shotkan Karate International, with another sensei, Japanese sensei called Asano. I had my kids trained by the Japanese as well, to keep them the Asian way, you know. I was lucky, like, you know, I won the Kanazawa Cup, won the Sano Shield at Sheffield University, and I'd done well at it. So it was there for me, you know what I mean? I fitted in. I found somewhere I fitted in.
It just gives you so much, it really, so in your life, Annie. It's took you everywhere and like around the world.
It straightened me out as well, because, you know, you can't live around here and not be totally innocent. You know, kept you straight, kept you on the straight, kept you on the narrow. And it was great, and I just wanted to pass it on, because some of the kids there, you teach kids, I'm sure there's kids around there now, if you could instill in them discipline and training and fight. I'll shock you now. If I had my chance again, I'd look more carefully at boxing. Old school training. You know, boxing, hard work, just hard work. Where you get in the ring, you can't hide, you can't bluff, you can't move here. It's just you, and then, you know what I mean? You find out if you've got something or if you haven't. But I got through it all, so I don't know what to think.
I'm Alan Barker. I was born in 1946, 25th of the 1st, 1946, 100 yards from the Florrie in Aiken Street, which is, as I say, 100 yards away. I could come out to my front door, and within a minute, I was in the front door of the Florrie. I first started coming to the Florrie when I was a kid. Used to bunk in, you know, when I was young, when I was really young. I was about 7 and 8, and everything coming, sneaking in. My dad used to come to the Florrie. He was a member of the Florrie. My two uncles who lived 100 yards away in the same street, they were members of the Florrie. They all played football for the Florrie. I played football for the Florrie. And basically, that's where we started with the Florrie. Well, the Florrie was everything to us kids. I know it was built for the poor and destitute children of the south end of Liverpool. And I'm glad there was a poor and destitute child in the south end of Liverpool to be able to come to this boys' club. Because this boys' club made me, made all my friends. And it was heaven to us. It was location, location, location. This was it for us. It gave us everything. Sport, friendship. Listen, don't get me wrong, you have to be able to look after yourself in here. And don't mean fighting wise, you have to dodge the fighters. Because there was some tough lads in here at the time. But all in all, it was a fantastic upbringing in here. It made the whole community. Because the whole community came here as gangs of lads. And we all had different, I played football for the Florrie, cricket for the Florrie, played table tennis for the Florrie, played for the chess team, and like with all my mates as well, they were exactly the same as me. And the Florrie just gave us everything, it gave us a purpose, you know, and it's just unbelievable. The Florrie gym, we all did our training in the gym. We all did our running from the Florrie, come back to Florrie, do our football training, and then play for a weekend for the Florrie. And that was our life as kids. And we had great role models ahead of us. All the older boys in the Florrie all looked after the younger lads, and they were really good role models. I mean, it was a really tough area, but there was really genuine, nice people here who really helped and were great to all the kids who came through the doors. You know, so we've got great memories of all of the teams. You know, we used to watch them on Lord Mayor's night playing the basketball. The basketball team used to play against the Americans from where it was Burton Wood. Absolutely brilliant. The Lord Mayor's nights were great. In Jerry Marsden starting in here, the foremost starting in here, and knew them well. And they were all great. The Florrie was just an unbelievable place for kids to come. It gave us a purpose in life.
Yes, my name's Nikki and I was born in Col Gardens, but then when I think maybe about 9 or 10, we moved to South Hill Road up by Cockburn Street End in a little square in between. Tennies were still up then, but they're down now. Probably a lot of it's to do with the Florrie because I hung around in here as a kid, so whether it was playing netball, was in the majorettes here for years. So majorettes, netball, the youth club, trying to avoid coming here on YTS after school because that's what we said all the divvies done. And then probably all around Cockburn Street because we had bread being filmed when we were kids, so Paul McCartney coming. So that was a big thing for us, wasn't it, as kids? I think it's the people, definitely, and the fact that I left and come back, I felt that even more. So luckily for me, most of my friends who grew up from a little kid, I'm still friends with, and they're still in the Dingle. If they're not, they've only gone just up the road, they're still in the South End. So that little still being together with them, but then that thing where we know each other and we look after each other. I mean, there's been fundraising for people in the area, you know, Lee Beck's and a lot of stuff a couple of years back. That niceness that if something happens to someone, it happens to all of us, and everyone joins together. I think that's really nice. People have each other's back. You don't get that everywhere now, I don't think. And moving to like North Liverpool and South Liverpool, completely different. And I did miss that community spirit, that little thing of like knowing everyone when you go in the local shop, to when I go to the hairdressers who's my mate here, and just that knowing everyone, it's nice, isn't it? I've missed that being away. So nice to get it back once I move home.
Well, my name's Tom Heaney and I was born in Park Place, which is in Toxteth. It was in my grandma's shop, and it was opposite St. Pat's Chapel. We were bombed, like while we were in Windsor Street, waiting after my dad died, waiting for my mum to go away. There was a big blitz, and we were used to go down the stairs. We lived in all them houses down at Windsor Street. We were all like old Georgian houses, big 4-story ones, you know. And we were under the stairs, and people monsters dropping everywhere. We'd hear them explode. And then I can remember it now, like there was a gust of wind blew through the house, and all the doors slammed, basically. And the raid continued. After the raid, we came out, and I can remember my mum, I was 8, I remember quite a lot. My mum started to make a cup of tea and knock on the door. And I went to the door and it was a copper. And he said, "Get out now. There's a parachute mine just gone through the roof next door, the library's house. And it's unexploded." Well, it's obviously unexploded because you're still here. But you've got to get out now. And as we came out the front door, there was a mass of people moving down Windsor Street with all the bedding and the clothes and the pillars and everything, you know. So we joined the queue, and my mum was about 6 months gone now, and she had my 2 sisters and myself. So there was an air raid, there was a co-op in Windsor Street. They called it Maryland Street, Windsor Street, and they were quite a big. It took up the whole block, and they had like an enforced air raid shelter. Everyone had it up there, so it was packed. So John, like, got seen the night through. John, the guy, said, obviously someone said, never said to me, like, obviously, but they couldn't accommodate all the people. So we were sent down to under St. Pat's, where the club was, where the men's club, CYMS club, and we spent the night there, right? And the next performance is The next day, apparently, someone said it's not safe, although it was a big, strong building, and it's still there, parochial law, you know. But it was a strong, someone deemed it wasn't safe for all that people to be there. So we ended up in the Toxteth Tabernacle in Park Road, right? And by that time, we were there must take 5 or 6 days, right? And by that time, everyone was starving. All the shops, no shops up, because there was a landmine, everything had to be closed, no food. And one of the greatest things I remember was these women's voluntary service, you know, the WVS, as they were known, bringing these big drums, or the friends of them as drums, call them pans or whatever, scouts, and they come in, and we were big of rabbits, and it was like manna from heaven. Oh, get it out. And we were there about 5 or 6 days, and we were allowed to go home, you know. Yeah, well, it was like sort of, it was random. I mean, the bombs dropped anywhere, you know. Yeah. And consequently, to us, it was a playground to us. Now, just before the war, there was an area, what they were doing, they just got like systematically, where Islip Street is now, on Mill Street. There was all these little streets. Well, the main one was Jackson Street. He knocked them down, and all the people from there moved down to Carl Gardens. Carl Gardens was just opened, about 1938, 37. And then he started knocking these houses down between Park Place and Windsor Street, and Waterson, in that square. And he built King's Gardens. So the people from there moved into King's Gardens. That was where Jackson Street used to be. So they had this, they had like a planned system of moving down. But unfortunately, while they were knocking it down, the war kicked off. So all the works finished, all the demolition. So that was our playground. You know, cutting houses, having bowies, bonfires. You know, and then if you think about like the mountain leather making soldiers out, you know, all that stuff, you know. Yeah. So
my name's Joan, and I've always lived in the Dingle, I'm glad to say. I love it very much living here. I get very angry when people talk about this area, because I feel very passionate about it. There's more good people than bad. I had a few jobs. I wanted to go nursing, but my mum and dad were hard up, so they wouldn't let me go away to train. So I've always been a member of a youth club. I used to belong to the David Lewis Club, and I ended up being that, what they call then as the head girl, and I was the head girl of the David Lewis Youth Club. I used to teach tap dancing then. Then I got really interested in youth and, you know, trying to help them. And I went away on courses and trained. And then we went away for a few days and I actually became qualified many years ago, in the 70s, I think. When St. John's came on the scene, I went to the church I go to now, St. Philemon's, and they had the building, St. John's, and they had a full-time youth leader who left, and they came and offered my husband, who used to go and help there, the job because he was thought of very fondly and all the kids used to like him very much. So he went away, did a qualification, became what we called then in them days, the warden, and I became the assistant warden, and I worked with him for many, many years in St. John's Youth Centre. When I was leader, we ran, between the clubs, we ran a netball team, which I used to drive the minibus and take them round to the various youth clubs. And all the kids from this area, they actually won the cup in the end. And I still see some of them, you know, now, which is lovely really, because a lot of them still live in the area. Well, I feel very passionate about it, you know, always have done. And my hackles go up when I hear people calling it, sadly. And I get furious, you know, because I've lived here all my life. I've brought up 2 children who have got really good jobs. One's in type of youth work, and the other lad's a vicar. So, you know, they've done really well. And my husband was a youth worker. And we come from this area, and their friends, one of them is a millionaire because he worked hard. You know, he's a Bedford. Really was hard, but those kids went to school and they worked. They had nothing, but, you know, I don't know, I just love to see them doing so well if they live in our area.
My name's George Stranick, and I was born in Dorrit Street, the top end actually, number 88 by Windsor Street, next to Bailey Hill, believe it or not. That's where my nanny lived. So back in them days, I'm the eldest of 6. Back in them days, it was, my mum and dad didn't have a house then, so they obviously newly married then, so you know what I mean. So we stayed with my nan, lived with my nan for 3 or 4 years then, yeah. Then they got a house, believe it or not, the other side of Princess Road, which is Ponsonby Street, by Granby Street. Yeah. So really it's covering all the L8 area. And then we moved back down with my nanny Alston from Carl Gardens, so we lived down there for a bit as well. So basically, between our houses, in them days it was like, yeah, come on, just live with your nan, get your head down, and that's all, yeah, so that was that. So I'm 67 now, so I was born in 1956. So yeah, that would have been like late 50s, early 60s, on the move. Yeah, so obviously my school was St Bernard's, which is off Granby, the other side of the Dingle, innit? Call it Toxteth now, really. So when I used to always come down to my nan's, I was always aware of the florrie as I was getting older. And then when my secondary school was Tockley Tech, so I knew a few lads from the Dingle, Tony Smith, Stevie Smith, Terry McHale, lads who, and they were always going on about the florrie, you know what I mean? So next thing, and yeah, we play football, because we were into the football then, played for the school. So when I was about 14, we moved, another big move was up to Egbert then. So my dad's like that, me and our Tony, my younger brother, come on, to keep off the streets basically, we'd get down to the florrie, and obviously I'd heard of the florrie, well renowned. So we used to walk, or get the train to St Michael's, get off at St Michael's and walk to the florrie when we were 14, 15. And that's how it all started, so you know what I mean. But because I was into the football, when I first came here, I was like, well, so what happens with the football? I knew Mr. Mack was going to be running it. But the boxers were doing their thing upstairs, so, because I was here early, I thought, I'll have to go to the boxing, you know. Just training and that. So it goes up when Mr. Robinson's running it then, with Mr. Conroy. You still call him Mr, you know what I mean? Don't call him Robbie or whatever. And they were just pure, like, I'd be on the bags like that, you know what I mean? 14, 15, just waiting for the football to start. So next day, Mr. like, what are you doing here, lad? You know, I said, oh, I'm with the football, you know, just like to do a bit of training and that. He goes, okay, lads, but once you come through them doors, the boxing's totally different, obviously, to the football training and that. I said, yeah, I understand that, you know. So next thing, I just thought I'd be on the bags. Next thing, I'm looking around. These lads are getting in the ring, aren't they? So the likes of Tony Lundstrom, Charlie Lundstrom, Stan Atherton, Vinnie McParland, Robbie Robinson, and these are all champions, you know what I mean? And I'm going, nobody doesn't ask me to get in the ring, you know. Next thing, I'm just like that on the bags, you know what I mean? Looking at me, what's this football? Next thing, the shout comes over, doesn't it? All right, George, isn't it? And going, yeah. He says, come on, get in the ring, 3 rounds. And I'm like, no, I'm not here. I'm just get in the ring. In the totally, gets in the ring, I'm like, what am I doing here? Next thing, who's in the other corner? Tony Lundstrom. And I'm like that to Tony, you know what I mean? By the way, Tony, you know, go easy. Next thing, bang, boom. Box me head. I got out of the ropes, so like George Formby in one of the Mal films, you know. Black eye here, fat lip there, nose over there. I'm like that, fat lip. And Mr. Robinson, he's going, yeah, all right, lads, you're all right, just do a sponge on me. He said, I'm going down to the football now. Turns up with all the lads downstairs, they're all like Jimmy Duffy, and I'm going, you thought to be mugged, you know what I mean? He said, what's happened to you? There's still blood coming out of my nose. And I said, well, I've just done half an hour up with the boxers, you know. So Mr. Mac, God love him, he's going, you haven't been up there, have you? He said, look, stay away from them boxers, you know what I mean? Whatever you do. Oh, Norman Walker, he was another good boxer, Norman, for Sean Robbo. But yeah, that was my last. So it was football from then on, so.